Here.
Commissioner?
Here.
Do the calculations on everybody who I own 10 minutes in your lives.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
You're prompt, so I've been prompt, but it's blame this one on trial. You're up, Nick.
All right. All right, first, order of business is reconsideration of order 34956. On December 10th, the DMR received a petition for reconsideration of certain portions of the administrative rules. To align this just a little bit, the DMR had 27 oil and gas rules covering 94 specific topics that had amendments or changes. For last month's order, and of those 8 topics were requested for reconsideration. Team at the DMR went to work, and come up with what we believe to be reasonable and beneficial solutions to the items brought forth for consideration. So I'm going to turn it over to Mark to summarize each of those for the commission.
Morning. After our initial rule hearing, we had our 10-day comment period, and we formulated a response. So we brought that, as Nathan said, to the November 25th commission meeting. And you approved an order approving the amendments. As Nathan said, we received 2 petitions for reconsideration. Patrol Council and one from Florida Resources Operating LLC. I'll go through the items that they wanted addressed very briefly here. So the first item they wanted us to reconsider was in 43020328, where we had added the word environment to the rule for a serious threat of pollution or injury to the environment or the public health and safety. The Patrol Council requested withdrawal of the injury to the environment language. Patrol Council believes the language threat of pollution already covers environmental concerns. We did in our comments reference fire damage, which is what our intent was. I guess the impetus behind the rule change. So we agreed to strike the word environment and add wildfire to capture the intent of what it is. Added in the first place. There was 4302-329. 4 different sections of that rule that they had concerns with. Go through those and summarize them at the end. One of the sections wanted the rule required a notice of intent to construct. They requested, the Petroleum Council requested withdrawal of that part of the rule. They made comments that the pipelines under commission jurisdiction, or we had made the comment that pipelines under commission jurisdiction are not under PSC or Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration jurisdiction. The Cone Council commented that they thought that was factually incorrect as applied to the majority of the gas gathering lines in North Dakota. They referenced type A, B, C, and type R lines under 49 CFR Part 192. They did acknowledge that the commission likely has jurisdiction over the type R lines. In this order, we point out that under our definition of underground gas or pipelines, it's an underground gas or liquid pipeline that is not subject to NDCC Chapter 4922.1, which is the PSC jurisdiction. And under 4922.1, under the PSC's statute, it explicitly states that this subdivision does not apply to an oil or gas pipeline gathering system and the associated facilities that collect gas from a well to the gas processing facility. Another section concerned damage, verbally notifying the director if they damage a pipeline when they're constructing. Again, the Petroleum Council requests withdrawal of this portion of the rule. They cited that it may do a potential conflict with existing PSC authority. And that our comment that these pipelines are not under the PSC or PHMSA jurisdiction, they thought was factually incorrect. And again, we referenced the sites in the North Dakota statutes. You mentioned, another portion of that rule, concern, they have to report line strikes, even if it's a abandoned pipeline that doesn't release any fluid. They request a withdrawal of this portion of the rule, for the same reasons outlined previously. And under another portion of the rule, we had, the director could, for good cause, require boring or casing of bores. And they, the Petroleum Council, requests a withdrawal of this, again citing that PHMSA specifically advises against mandatory casing requirements. In our previous comments, we had indicated this would not be mandatory, but in relation to these items, recognize there may be multiple regulatory jurisdictions governing these different types of crude oil and produced water, underground gathering pipelines. Withdraw the rule amendment to allow time for additional analysis to avoid duplicative regulation and ensure adequate and effective regulation of crude oil and produced water underground gathering pipelines. In 29.1, there's a requirement to add the presence of a shading bucket in the permit application. They request withdrawal of that, arguing the existing rock removal requirements and other parts of the section, and our field inspections are sufficient to ensure pipeline integrity. We tend to agree, and we have agreed to withdraw that part of the amendment. Another portion of the regulations they were concerned with was under 43.1, where we had eliminated the requirement for hearings for diverse ownership facilities, but we codified our practice of requiring at least a 72-hour consecutive test, which we had done by order for 30 years.
Dutch is getting close to.
They requested to allow the director to approve technically sound allocation methods with durations of less than 72 hours without requiring a hearing. And we recognize there are emerging methods of technology that can provide allocation for individual well production with less than 72 hour tests, and we agreed to amend it. Another portion of that rule dealt with common ownership, which codified this 24-hour consecutive test, and to be consistent, we have amended that one likewise as we did for the 72-hour test. Another section of the rules that they were concerned with was under NDAC 43.49. They added oil vessels to the diking requirement, and the Petroleum Council requested withdrawal of that section, arguing that AS&E code vessels present fundamentally lower risk tail than API standard tanks, and these oil vessels are the AS&E vessels we're talking about. And we agreed to withdraw the rule amendment after further consideration, since we believe we have the authority to require docking oil vessels or oil tanks. It's currently addressed in the rule, and the engineering differences between what may be termed an oil vessel or a tank does not exclude either from the diking requirements. As a side note, I mean, the tanks themselves may be constructed to a higher standard, but you have fittings, pipelines, and connections to all those things that typically are probably your weak points anyway. But we have agreed to withdraw that specific language. They also argued that they made a comment that the current dike capacity calculation, which includes 1 day's fluid production, is impractical for new Bakken wells. They did acknowledge that our comment that the director does often exercise discretion in establishing those requirements, and they can also get a variance. And CODA's petition for reconsideration request asked us to address 16.430203 which is the suspension or revocation of permit applications. This came in during the 10-day comment period. That and the Petroleum Council suggestion that we modify the diking capacity calculation were not advertised for public comment. And we believe that addressing these comments on rules in this process in overreach of the commission's jurisdiction, as the, and would be acting beyond its legislative mandate. Under the Administrative Practices Act, there's a process for these rulemakings. We propose the rule, the public makes comment on the rules, and because the public did not receive notice of the revisions that were proposed in these two instances, and was not afforded the right to comment, cannot consider to adopt them. In these reconsideration requests, there was either party requested a rehearing. So we've concluded that the Petroleum Council petition consideration should be granted in part, and Coda's petition for reconsideration should be denied. So I'm asking, you're recommending that you approve an order denying Coda's petition for reconsideration, granting Petroleum Council's in part. The amended rules are included as the appendix.
So move.
Second that.
Discussion. So, couple things. What are the requirements under SPCC? Because that, none of us has any authority there, and that
Correct. That's a federal.
that supersedes and EPA puts requirements on that. It doesn't matter about the vessel.
I would say the language difference between tank and vessel is semantics, especially when it relates to SPCC, EPA.
Yeah.
They're going to require Viking of that anyway. We believe we have the ability to do that regardless. So, it's an oil tank or an oil vessel, whether the pressure requirement of the tank is 10 psi higher than that of a tank, or the vessel is 10 psi higher than that of a tank. Took a second look at that and feel as if it's we already have the ability to require that along with the SPCC requirements that are.
Do you even recall what, and I don't, it's been a little while since I had to deal with them on this. Is it 110, 140%?
I believe it's 110% plus that you have to take into some kind of precipitation
yeah.
event.
Yeah, you have to take that. Okay. Do we still have inspection requirements? I don't know if it's from the engineer or if it's from some regulatory body on gathering lines when they're being constructed. Because this has been an issue. I mean, when we've had, and I'm fine, except for I remember those days when my phone rang off the hook because saltwater lines were fractured and leaking and destroying ground. And I just want to make sure that we still have some oversight, some way of making sure that a rock doesn't fall on the line and then it cracks and then we have an issue.
Yeah, we have the jurisdiction to inspect these lines. The rule amendment that we had proposed was that they would give us notice of when they were going to install the gas lines. They do have to give us notice of when they're installing the crude oil and water lines. And a lot of times these lines, all three are being installed at the same time.
Yeah.
We estimate roughly maybe half the gas lines are installed without the other two lines at the time. But we do have inspection authority. It's just that they would not be giving us notice of their intent to construct.
On the gas portion.
On the
On
gas.
the gas lines. Well, there's probably very little environmental damage from that, but produced water is an issue.
But they're giving notice.
For the water and the oil.
Or the water and the oil.
But the gas line, they're giving notice. It's not giving it to us.
Well, yeah, I don't know who they're, I mean, I assume they have to, and that's part of the reason, they did bring up some valid points. There may be some things that need to be investigated further. But the impetus behind the rule was, it's not so much the installation of the line, it's that if you're opening up the ground, you have the potential to hit something. And whether it's a gas line, a water line, or an oil line, doesn't matter.
Okay.
this allows us the opportunity to take the next 12 months or so to ensure that we don't have duplicative regulation.
Yep.
So I think it's probably a good pause.
And I'm fine with that. I just want to make sure that because out of everybody's phone that's gonna ring the most, gonna be mine.
Stop giving people your numbers.
You want me to stop forwarding calls?
And you stop publicizing it? You put it out and
It's on our webpage.
Press release,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
It's Saxby's idea.
Just walk
I
me,
knew it.
walk me through quickly, because you're not making scientific arguments on the CODA response. You're actually making, I don't, legislative and or legal arguments. So they essentially tried to rewrite a rule.
They wanted to, yes, amend the rule that we did not propose to be amended.
So nobody had the opportunity to comment on it,
Correct.
which we actually cannot do. Okay. That's, I just wanted to make sure it's clear.
Yep.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner,
Yes.
Johnny,
Yes.
Yes.
All right, next is, critical minerals rulemaking. This pertains to House Bill 1459 that was passed statutorily placed into regulation, placed the regulation of critical mineral processing facilities within the Industrial Commission. These are for critical minerals which occur within the associated coal bearing formations. The team has worked diligently over the past few months to come up with the draft rules that are in front of you today. To our knowledge, these are the first critical minerals rules relating to coal in the United States. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ed Murphy and Ned Kruger. Ned's our senior mineral geologist and regulatory program lead to summarize those draft rules for.
Good morning. We'll jump right to page one of the attachment and want to first of all thank Dave Garner, who's here, the assistant AG who went through these rules, and Matt is here. I think Matt's here to keep an eye on Dave because we have a history of every time we use an assistant AG to do rules or some case of law, they leave. So going back to Cindy Goulet in 2008. So
Matt's actually over your shoulder. to make
Yeah.
Sure that you know what he's doing. That's what it is.
So, just a couple highlights on the rules. It's really two parts because we, under the new rules, we can issue a critical mineral exploration permit as well as a critical minerals processing facility permit. The language for the critical mineral exploration permit came largely from coal exploration that's been in existence since mid 1970s. And we've actually issued in the last 8 years or so, we've issued a dozen permits under that program for critical mineral exploration. And that requires, we've kept the permit application fee, the same, the bond requirements will be the same as it is in that program, as well as the whole plugging and site reclamation. For the language in the facility permit, that came largely from our subsurface minerals solution mining permit program. It's been a long time. It was 1964 to 89 when we had an active permit under that program for the salt plant up at Williston, closed in 1989. But we've also been to that looking at some of the DEQ requirements in their rules. And so the permit application, we would get, the EMR would get reimbursed for the time it would take to go through and evaluate that permit application, which would probably in many cases be 6 to 8 weeks in that neighborhood. Also, the bond, then facility bond is set for the maximum amount of cost to reclaim the site, including demolishing the building if the building was not transferred to some other entity. And then the facility bond would be periodically reviewed to make sure it was up to date. And it would be adjusted by the director as necessary with the approval of the industrial commission. And the mine coal, as was in 1459, the House bill that created this program under 3812 in the Century Code requires commingling, which the coal companies are very used to commingling the coal at the mine to obtain the correct chemistries for the utilities as well as the BTUs. And then we got a photograph of the UND College of Engineering Mines Research Institute rare earth pilot plant. The facility that we would be permitting would be much larger. This would be based very much on this. And in fact, Jordan in a few minutes is going to be half hour or so is going to be bringing from the Lignite Research Council a grant proposal for 1.1 million to expand this pilot plant here up at Works. With that, I'll turn this over to Ned just to run briefly through the rulemaking process timetable.
Good morning. I'll keep this very brief. The two main things I want to point out, if you allow us to move forward with the rulemaking process today, on our calendar, we've already got a scheduled date for our hearing for those rules, which is January 20th. And allowing for the 10-day comment period and time for us to respond to any comments that we receive. We expect that we'll be back to the commission on your February 24th meeting to seek approval of the new ordinance.
That's what we got.
So I do have a question. Now, this isn't probably anything we can address. Because it's in statute. But if you look at the bill, I know what bauxite is. These are either elements or compounds. Uranium, tungsten, titanium, potash. What is fresium and sterlium?
Those are not actual, they were put in as critical minerals, but they are not. They're it was an inside joke in the legislature. And I think those were meant to be removed in the conference committee. I think it was probably meant for a 10-minute joke and it stuck through. So we'll be removing those.
Can this become a basis for criticizing legislation in the future on a lot of things? We can just say that was an inside joke and that couldn't have been what they intended.
That's because there were a
Do you
few
have legislative history on that?
there were a few other, well, I'm aware of at least one other name for Representative Doctor that was caught and removed, but these are in law.
Well, this, being these is the statute and the rules would be the first elimination. I mean, it'd be kind of embarrassing for the rest of the country to look at us and say, really? You guys even know what you're doing? And I give us a lot more credit than that. All right, so there'll be something that'll be visited with the legislature about?
Yeah, there is at least one other actual element, acetine, which somebody picked up as very rare, a very rare element. And so then it got in there as a rare element, but it's not a rare earth element. So that'll get removed.
And
So move.
Second. Discussions. I will just say this is going to be an issue moving forward for a lot of different reasons. One, it's new to the action. This the law in and of itself is probably going to have some, I don't know if controversy is the right word, but it's going to, I mean, there will be more to it, but I just want to tell you guys that I don't think the rules are controversial. Like the rules are implementing what is passed in law, and I think you did a great job. I think whatever controversy occurs in this space is going to be because the law passed, not because you guys didn't do a really good job of utilizing existing rules that exist in different spaces and doing this in a very thoughtful, straightforward, and quite frankly, reasonably simplistic is the wrong word because none of this is simple, but it's user friendly. It is done. It's clear, and it's implementing the statute that was passed in the legislature. So thank you all for the work. So, roll call.
Commissioner,
Yes.
Attorney General.
Yes.
Governor.
Yes.
If I could just add at the end, Governor, that also I should mention that Mark and Nathan, we met 3 different times to go through open games and how to function and whether we lean towards the oil and gas method or in the state the coal just make more sense.
Thank you guys. Merry Christmas.
Okay, a whole lot of work went into that presentation.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
The only item on other business that I want to address is right kind of in the middle of the page, which is that of the deputy director. 6 finalists have been selected and are all in the interview process currently. The interviews are occurring in 3 different sessions to be conducted primarily during the month of December. Because of the holidays, some of it may bleed over into January, but we expect to try to have a hire in this role near the end of the month of January 2026. So that's the main update. There's a couple other things on here that you can peruse at your desire, and just wanted to give you an update on that. So I think that's DMR.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Merry.
You want to talk about number 6 at all, huh?
Oil prices are soft.
Cabinet. Still higher. Back. Around. For 20 years.
Problem is when you're sitting over here, it's always doom and gloom. I remember when somebody else was the lieutenant governor. Back here.
When that's there.
Yes, sir.
Correct, 15.
Yes.
I was there too.
All right. Well,
We cried.
it was on the heels. It was on the heels of some traumatic increase.
That was a lot. So we're all stuck at 1 point. Hi, Tia.
Good morning.
You're up.
All right. I missed you guys last month. So to start off, we have South Central Regional Water District, and they're requesting $5,625,000. This is a project to connect the city of Napoleon to the South Central Regional Water System. They are eligible for $4,218,000 of loan forgiveness under the emerging contaminants portion of the bill funding. And so their net drinking water loan would be $1,406,000. They're also going to be receiving Department of Water Resource cost share of $992,000. The project total is a $6.6 million loan. They've requested a 30-year loan term. Their average annual repayment will be $59,256. They won't need to raise rates to be able to repay this loan. And based on that information, the advisory committee recommended approval of this project.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Commissioner?
Yes.
Attorney General?
Yes.
Governor?
Yes.
The next loan is for Western Area Water Supply Authority. They've requested $16 million, and this will fund Phase 9 expansion projects. There's a whole list of projects that they will be using this money to, along with the Department of Water Resource cost share of $47,412 or $412,000. So a total project total of approximately $63 million. The requested loan term is 30 years. The average annual payment for this loan will be $673,000. The member entities are the ones that make the repayments on these loans. Provided a variety of information on the member entities along with WAS system itself, including the fact that WAS, on the bottom of page 2, you can see the WAS net operating revenue coverage does meet our requirements, as well as at the very bottom, you can see I've reviewed the member entities' most recent audit reports, and all of those member entities meet our net operating coverage requirement of 110%, actually exceeded by quite a bit. And based on that information, the advisory committee recommended approval of this loan.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Commissioner?
Yes.
Attorney General?
Yes.
Governor?
Yes.
Then the other item is a memo of loans under $2 million that were approved by the advisory committee at their November and December meetings. 2 to the city of Mont, 2 to the city of Williston, and then Page, Grand Forks, and Valley City. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions?
Looks good.
No questions, Deanne.
Well, then I'd like to wish you a Merry Christmas and thank you for your support of all these loans. And I'll see you in the new year, I'm sure, with more requests.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you.
Stay warm outside.
Thank you, you too.
Jordan.
Morning, Commissioners. So we'll dive into the Lignite research program.
How you doing?
Hey, good.
Good. See you guys.
You too. Morning.
So briefly, there's 3 proposals brought before you today, total about 4.8 million. As you can see, you have Lignite Research Fund, you have about $7.2 million funds currently available. And show some of the dollars to date taxes. Roughly next spring, the $10 million from oil gas tax. So as far as for the approximate 18.5 million by any month expected. So the proposals today, fund will be in pretty good shape for 3 more grant rounds this biennium. And any questions on that before we dive into the proposals? So the first proposal today is from the Lignite Energy Council. This the grant proposal. It's been for a little bit now. It's been in our budget bill of $4.5 million carve out, if you will, but $4.5 million out of the Lignite Research Fund is a lot for matching funds for Gas Reserve Protect activities. And and grants of this nature from the Lignite Energy Council have been ongoing for a little while in the past, and this is the next iteration for a 3-year grant project for these enhanced preserve and protect activities for the North Dakota coal industry. And this request is for $3,316,695. And technical reviewers scored this grant application as 210.5 out of 250 with recommendations to fund. And objectives include building on the previous work of EPP projects and work, employing advanced energy technology program, updating the advanced energy technology program, identifying opportunities to enhance the future of the state's lignite resources, monitoring regulatory policy and always being in the know and doing any research or legal work that could be needed on that front, and being flexible and timely with industry and regulators to make the best use of lignite. And opportunities already identified include rare earth elements and critical minerals, developing carbon materials from lignite, using CO2 for CCUS, and then evaluating next generation lignite conversion systems. So with that, the recommendation is to fund this proposal, and then, as has been done in the past, being it's non-matching funding, then the recommendation also is to fund it with contingencies of reporting, of the standard reporting to the office, and also annual reports or presentations to the Lignite Research Council and to you gentlemen, the Industrial Commission. And lastly, stipulation that any study that's not specifically named in the proposal that's in excess of $100,000 would need to be approved by the Industrial Commission office. So those would be the recommendation for us.
So move.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Fisher,
Yes.
Attorney General,
Yes.
Governor,
Yes.
Commissioners and Mr. Holmes will take care of the next two.
All right, thank you, Jordan. Just as follow-up to that, the first two strategic studies, which are 200K each in that effort, are both in the ERC. The first one, continuing the evaluation of the lignite plant of the future, and the second one is improvements of existing plants and evaluating any impacts on regulations like new source review. So the next proposal is titled Pilot Expansion and Testing for Improving Lignite Fuels and Rare Earth Element Processing. It's the University of North Dakota's proposal and their system. The project manager, Nolan Baker, and a 2-year project. And they have several components. The first one is looking at the improvements of the coal that you see through that cleaning in prep for the rare earth element extraction. The second one is testing to further validate the system, third, and economics. And the third is looking toward commercial. And then the fourth is improvements to the system for future testing. They are looking for 1.1 million from the Lignite Research Development and Marketing Program with a total project of 2.2 million. And the remainder of the funding is from DOE. And then with the technical reviews, let's see, their score was 229 out of 250. All 3 reviewers recommended funding, and we had a Lignite Research Council vote of 22 for and 0 against.
So move.
Second.
Are we voting for both of them at once?
Just the one for now.
Okay. Discussion.
Fisher,
Yes.
Attorney General.
Yes.
Governor,
Yes.
And the third of 3 is also related to rare and critical minerals. The majority of our budget is in CO2 related things, but we have these somewhat smaller projects. This one's focused on germanium and getting highly purified germanium for primarily military applications, optics, lasers, things like that. And the Army is the co-funding agency. They're looking for $400,000 with a total project size of 1.2 million. Microbeam Technologies is the lead with Alex Benson as the PI, and it's a 2-year project. And they're looking at basically a thermal concentration of the germanium. The original target was 60%, but they're looking for metal purities above 90 and a final process purity of 99.9%. And they've got a lot of support from the Army and eyes on it from the Army, which is good because it helps with that initial step till you get to the capitalism of this is standalone. So in their scores, they got 212.3 out of 250 in the technical reviews, and 2 said they recommend fund, with the 3rd saying I recommend funding if they talk more about the chance of success in their pilot facility and that. So that was part of the presentation, and the end result was a LRC vote of 22-4 and 0 against.
Second discussion. I'll call.
Commissioner,
Yes.
Tucson.
Yes.
Governor.
Yes.
All right, and then for other business, I was just gonna throw in that when your schedule permits, I'd like to do an annual review of the program. So if you could look in the coming months at when you can fit me in for that. And then the only other thing is I've really enjoyed the 10 years. I've been asked to stay through the end of June, so I will. And in that time, anything I can do to help with the transition, but so
June, when?
June of this.
2030?
Sound like
Great.
Jonathan.
Fantastic. Explain.
You bet.
All right, thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thanks,
Good
guys.
seeing you.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you all.
You guys.
Take care.
Still on you, Jordan.
Guys. So on to the state research center, so presentation and a request. So just to let the office here mention briefly for the request that will be coming. The State Energy Research Center, when it was created in 2019, one of the tasks, purposes of it is to give greater access to energy experts for timely scientific and engineering studies to support the state's interests. And so the contract between the Industrial Commission and the EERC for these CERT dollars is included under task 2, the $750,000 of that value was, or 10% of it, which is now currently $750,000. Under your discretion for approval for projects and requests. We're at the beginning of this biennium, you approved $250,000 for a geothermal study, energy study. So now today's request will be $250,000 for the Energy Atlas proposal, and then so that would leave the last $250,000 under this task 2 for the $300 million. Preview. Slides full up there.
Sure. And you run the, okay. I'll try to go through this quickly. I appreciate the opportunity to present in front of you today with our annual report, and then we will get to that, the request for additional funding. So the State Energy Research Center is came to be in 2019, and I always like to go back and talk a little bit about how the State Energy Research Center came to be. It was born out of the idea that the EERC had decreased the amount of work we were doing in the areas of invention and innovation. Back when federal earmarks were in existence, we had a fair amount of funding at our discretion that we could use to come up with new ideas, new technologies to either make things cleaner or make things cheaper, or to develop brand new technologies. And we lost a lot of that when we lost federal earmarks in 2010.
And this graph shows this blue bars are the amount of money in millions of dollars we received from the federal government. And the line is invention disclosures at the ERC, new ideas, new things that people brought forward and put into writing. And once earmarks went away, you can see that line really went down to 0 in 2018. Thus, it's not that the ERC was not still providing value. It was that we were focused on applied research and not fundamental research, not new innovation and new application. So from that really is how the State Energy Research Center was born. Here, go ahead and click one more time if you would. The areas we focus on are very early stage research. Again, this is not about moving things into the commercial space. This is about coming up with brand new ideas, new technologies, new ideas that will help, again, make things cleaner, better, cheaper for the state of North Dakota. And where we utilize this funding is in the 3 areas. Jordan already alluded to this. The majority of it, about 80% of the funding, goes towards fundamental research. About 10%, or exactly 10%, goes to provide more rapid response to needs of the state at your discretion, at the commission's discretion. And roughly another 10% then is used for education and outreach. We'll skip past this one. So I'll just talk exploratory research. Again, this is where the majority of the funding goes. Since the inception of the State Energy Research Center, we have funded over 80 projects that are, again, focused on, they're typically small projects. They're typically less than $250,000. The average project, probably about $125,000. It's to answer some key attribute, something that we need to understand to be able to take the idea further. Does it work? Is there something about it that we should throw it out? I always say one of the things we try to do with this funding is fail early. If we can, let's prove it doesn't work and get out of there and move on to something else. So of these 80 projects, then we work at advancing them into finding other funding sources. Just some examples of things we've worked on. Fertilizer from electrochemical processes, so reverse fuel cells using basically electricity to make fertilizer is the basic concept. Methods looking at well casing integrity, low density proppants out of North Dakota clays, advanced geothermal energy extraction from decommissioned wells, hydraulic fracturing studies, and then many different studies we've done on rare earth elements and critical materials for the state of North Dakota. What we then do is, again, CERC is focused on early stage. We need to then take those ideas and go find additional funding. And so to date, out of the ideas that were born from the State Energy Research Center, we've written proposals for $77 million worth of additional funding. Of that, we've received $43 million to date, another $8 million that is pending right now.
Where does that? Is that mostly just grants?
Mostly federal funding.
Yeah.
There is some that includes the LR, the lignite research, the oil and gas, that would be a matching fund too, but the majority of it is federal funding.
But over half awarded on R&D is pretty good. If people recognize the funding, the grant application process for this money.
Yes, we typically, well, some of them are 10%.
You should brag more.
All right.
That's what I'm saying.
All right.
I mean, because it is early stage. That's a good number. Thank you.
Thank you. We have then the CERC has only been around for a little over 6 years now, but we've already been able to advance some technologies to the demonstration stage. We've had 2 different technologies that have been out in the field for demonstration, and we're working on others, as well as some technologies are doing what I refer to as application-specific testing. So taking an idea and seeing if it works. In this case, graphene, does it work for battery applications? Graphene from North Dakota Lignite specifically. We've also been very successful in advancing it in getting patents. We've submitted 14 main U.S. patents, an additional 22 continuation CIP patents. We've already received 8 additional continuation CIP patents. Again, in the patent world, in 6 years' time, this is lightning speed in a lot of these. In one case, we submitted We've submitted 9 patents in 3 years related to one technology alone. Of that, 7 of them all showed up within less than 1 year's time. We were able to use a fast track system within the federal government that was great. And that's related to a technology called Polar Bear, which I'm going to go into next. So this is definitely our biggest success to date. Polar Bear is the idea of capturing gas that's traditionally flared for many different reasons and bringing it back for utilization so that the state can, not only the client developing it can utilize those resources, but the state will then receive the appropriate taxes associated with them. It's not a real difficult idea or a super technical idea. It was just one of the researchers took a look at something and said, wow, if we just scale things down and do things in a slightly different way, we can actually capture some of that gas at an economical value. The key to it was finding a compressor, a small compressor that was cheap and that we could use in the appropriate environment that it was. CERC then came in and said, well, we're going to help you with a compressor. We tried to figure out a compressor. We bought a whole bunch of them. We let them tear them apart. We let them rebuild them. They looked at different ways to try to make these cheap little compressors work. And to be honest with you, this is a great place where we failed early. We realized that was not the approach we needed to take. And so rather than continue down that path, what CERC showed us is we went out and found compressor manufacturers to work with. And we got a compressor manufacturer that now builds a compressor for the Polar Bear technology for us, far cheaper than we could even imagine doing it before. So that was a big win, and really CERC was what steered us towards that. This inventor, Darren Schmidt is his name. He went out and found additional federal funding, advancement technology. Today we have a commercial agreement with Steffes. They are deploying the technology. We have 30 units that are either already in the field or going in the field very shortly. This, I call it a commercial demonstration. So they're really commercial units, but we're getting them out there and getting some experience with
It's a good Dickinson company.
I've been there, I've toured. Very nice.
And
All
then,
the
yeah,
best things happen on Mountain Top.
yeah.
Just saying.
Here is the agreement signing with Todd Mayer and Charlie Gurecki here with Steffes. So it's been a tremendous relationship. They have invested a tremendous amount as well in making this technology work. So they've been great partners.
So you're gonna get this. It's utility, so it does all of this. What are they using it for?
We're using it to capture basically gas that's currently being flared.
But are you using it on site in some way to?
Yes. So basically the gas that traditionally would go to a flare is now being captured and put back into the pipeline.
Oh, it is just going into the normal pipeline. It's
Yes.
not being used as.
Yeah. What we do is we repressurize it and send it to the pipeline.
Yes.
The unique thing that Steffes recognized is we are, in a way, we're making another one of their technologies obsolete, which is the flare. They produce a significant number of flares in North Dakota, which they also recognize that's not the future. That's why they are really been such a great partner on this, is because they see this as potentially replacing a technology that they have today. It's been a tremendous relationship. So that's a little bit on the exploratory side. On the industrial, the projects that we come to you to get blessed with there's roughly 750,000 a biennium now. Just some examples of what we've done in the past. We ghost wrote the proposal that the Transmission Authority was awarded that provides funding to North Dakota utilities to do transmission upgrades. That was all led by the EERC. Of course, we've participated in several studies for the legislature, the North Dakota tax revenue study that was done. We've also supported the North Dakota Transmission Authority's grid resiliency studies under this, and the 250,000 that was approved earlier this year was for the geothermal. There's been several other things as well, but those are the types of projects that either have come at your request or we've brought them forward to be utilized within that Industrial Commission approved section of funding. And then last but not least, one more, Jordan, if you would. Energy Hawks. We use about 10% of the funding to fund up to 14 students a year that we bring in. The significant amount of their time is at the EERC, but we do allow some remote in there as well. And we bring the students in not just from UND, but from throughout the state. We brought in students to date from Nuevo Hidatsa Sanish College, from Bismarck State, from NDSU, from Minot. It does have the majority of students typically are UND, but we inundate them with all things North Dakota energy. Most of them don't come in with a very solid understanding of North Dakota energy as a whole. We inundate them with all things North Dakota energy. We take them out west, allow them to literally kick the tires of North Dakota energy, and then we utilize them to help us understand what are we missing. New eyes, new voices. They're all required to do write a research paper that helps us to look at new potential opportunities for the state of North Dakota. I think this program is tremendous. It creates great advocates for North Dakota energy going out. The vast majority of students come into us very, I would say, green, as in very much focused on green energy by far is most of the students. And most of them leave not with necessarily the understanding that green energy isn't a great energy source, but with the understanding that you can't just switch. We need an all of the above. I think that's the one thing
Multiple sources.
they understand, that all of the above approach that North Dakota utilizes and why you have to use it. And that I think is really, we hopefully they are our future voters in the state of North Dakota. So, and then how do you quantify CERC's impact to date? It's hard. Darren Schmitz, the Polar Bear project, has the potential to have an impact we think of as high as $17 million a year in regained revenue from lost revenue from gas tax. That would be the maximum end. Takes time to deploy technologies and to get things out there. So it's not going to be 17 million, but it's a significant amount. Bringing in an additional $43 million of funding to really advance technologies for the state. Of course, the Energy Hawks program, bringing in the transmission grant for North Dakota utilities.
Yeah, and when you factor that in, you don't factor the overall economics of that. The less they flare, the more they're willing to drill. Combine that with a pipeline. I mean, for as valuable as gas is to everybody, it's still associated gas for us. And the more these companies have abilities not to have their gas either flared or stranded, the more oil the state and these companies will produce. So like you talk about it like that, but it could have significant downstream impacts, far exceeding just flaring less gas.
Thank you. I need to bring you with when I.
Correct. I promote this stuff a little better. It's a big deal.
It's
Also, it's nice when we get a federal grant. It would be nice if the people who regulate it actually recognize the technology, which is why cooperative federalism is we're still, EPA is still fighting about thief hatches, right? Like this is a whole different animal.
So it's hard to quantify the impact of CERC to date, but I honestly believe we've already exceeded orders of magnitude in the amount of funding we've received and what we've provided. So that is all that I have to talk about the annual report in general. Be happy to take any questions on that.
Great job. We got 2 projects.
All right. And so we'll jump into the Energy Atlas. We're requesting $250,000 out of the remaining $500,000 that's in the Industrial Commission approved section of CERC. It is to create I like to call it an atlas. It would be an informational document that would help us to convey and help people, whether it's lay people or legislators, to understand North Dakota energy a little bit better. I actually brought a few atlases along, if anybody's interested. These are atlases that we produce under the P Corps program. And we certainly aren't going to be producing something of this size and nature right away, because it'll take us a while to get to that point. But this is the 6th edition of the P Corps Atlas. Page 31, by the way, starts enhanced oil recovery if you're interested in that section of it. This is geared for a slightly different reason. So we would be taking some of the stuff that's in here, creating brand new stuff that's focused on the state of North Dakota to create these educational resources. We are requesting $250,000 to do that and to put this documentation together. So the one thing I would request, I think our original document had an end date of March. And we put that together quite a while ago. And so I would request if, our goal is to have the majority of the documents done by summer for summer educational purposes. But that it might linger into the fall. And so that if we could just say by the end of 2026, we'll have everything wrapped up and done, if that's possible. Our intent is to produce things as quickly as possible for that summer educational season.
So is this available digitally too?
It will, this is not, the new one will be.
Okay.
In fact, that will be the primary method we'll produce. It will be digitally. We'll probably produce a few hard copies for various purposes, but digitally will be the primary method.
Doug and I like hard copies better anyway.
I do like hard copies, but I'm thinking about those that actually love technology, so. No, I like it. This is great.
So that's the direction that we'd like to take it. Again, I just want to stress, this is the 6th generation of something. Our first one will not be this elaborate.
Oh, it won't?
No, it won't be quite this elaborate. It'll have a lot of things, but it'll take us a while to really produce the full breadth.
I like it. I don't know if we're at that stage yet, but probably don't want to talk yourself out of a motion here, so move.
Second.
Discussion.
I just, it's not the same thing, obviously, it echoes or reminds me of the $10 million that were allotted 2 sessions ago for education efforts with regard to enhanced oil recovery, CO2, all that. Is there any people communicate about these things at all and they fit together and nothing to do with each other? I don't know.
I mean,
It makes me think of it. I haven't heard about anything on that front for a while.
yeah, I have not either. I mean, that's been a while since those conversations.
Yeah.
This could be used by anyone and everyone. It will be open source.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
Got to promote these things when they're available to the point. There's so many government documents. We all see it, beautiful, glossy stuff gets created. Nobody ever is aware of it. And there's good information in there.
My personal goal is to try to get at least some of the information in this document picked up by Discovery Education.
Yeah.
Which is the national source. I mean,
Yeah.
They're always looking for open source information and provide it to them so the rest of the US can also see
Yeah.
a lot of this.
Yeah, to your point about bringing the students out there and they come in and you can be forgiven for coming in and having a really skewed view, like, man, all we do is we're sun panels and we're going to be great. And then you move on through the actual economics of it, the practicalities and the necessities, and human beings are smart. Go with the real facts, but they got to be made aware of being indoctrinated all the time. It's good. It's good.
Thank you.
Roll call.
Commissioner,
Yes.
Attorney General.
Yes.
Governor.
Yes.
And we have no other business from CERC that I think of.
Merry Christmas.
All right. Merry Christmas to you as well.
And Christmas.
Thank you for the opportunity.
So yes.
Didn't wear my Christmas suit this year.
I wore some snowflake ties, so,
I did.
yeah.
I got some.
Oh, you got
Socks,
socks.
that's what it-
Yeah.
We get to keep.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, don't take it from us after we, thank you, guys. Oh.
Who's gonna be following? I don't know what that is.
Yeah, for sure. Probably right.
Phil's gonna be here. And then he's gonna do the first thing.
Okay.
But either way.
Okay.
You have to stop sharing it on you to share yours.
I already saw.
You did? Okay. Because every time I try to put full screen mode, the sheet goes, the thing goes blank.
More.
I'm gonna try that and see if it does it this time. You just will go by screen. Okay. Guess I'm not going full screen mode. We're just gonna have to see it live. The other light does that. Okay. Ready? Or should I wait for?
You can hear from over there.
Good picture. I
Perfect.
can hear him. Just go ahead.
So I'll just quick go over the OHF budget. Currently, there's just over 4.9 million sitting in the fund. That was as of about, I think it's already been about a month and a half, so there probably is another million or so that just hasn't been updated yet that has gone into the bucket. I'd like to mention that about a little under 1.5 million was actually carryover from last biennium, so some of the funding that was approved going towards some of these projects or recommended by the OHF board was actually funding that was still from carryover from last biennium as well. So there's 82 active projects currently. You have 10 projects in front of you today, and then there should be a list for you guys of the kind of quick summaries of each of the projects. So I'll turn it over to Dave Dewalt here, the chair of the OHF board. And he will kind of, I think, are you gonna walk through most of the?
I'm gonna walk through a few of them and
Okay.
just give you some highlights. It's a pleasure to be here today. Excuse me. Be out there, Heritage Fund supports a wide variety, range, wow. Of projects, including grazing infrastructure on public and private lands, wildlife habitat restoration, and expected hunting and outdoor activities. We just completed grant round 27. We had 18 or 17 projects in front of us. We're recommending 10 for funding. Over the past, we've now funded 250 projects with your blessing. So it's great to get these projects on land. Strengthening working lands, supporting ag producers, and benefiting wildlife habitat. Demand for OHF grant programs continues to be strong, and many well-designed shovel-ready projects aren't getting funded because of lack of dollars. Of the 10, I'm going to highlight 5, and then Brennan and I can go through the rest of them as needed. But for the first one, I'm going to highlight is the Governor's Legacy Soil Health and Habitat Program, where we recommended for full funding at $4.3 million. I think this is a great opportunity. Coupled with the $2 million in partner match, we'll have $6.5 million available for hunting and habitat access. This project was kind of a brainchild of the Habitat and Access Summit that North Dakota Game Fish put on last year, which Governor Armstrong, I was glad to hear you speak at it. Enjoyed the presentation. And I think the North Dakota Association of Soil Conservation Districts are in excellent position to deliver this project. They have a good working relationship with the Game and Fish Department. They are located in every county and have that access to provide the access for landowners to work with this program. This program will allow landowners to put some of the poor soils in the grassland habitat, earn a payment, reduce crop insurance payments through an agreement with Game and Fish and the federal crop insurance, and provide hunter access. I would like to commend the North Dakota Association of Soil Conservation Districts and the Game and Fish Department for all the hard work they did in this program together.
Can I interrupt?
You bet.
Of course I can, I'm the chair. There's another group we have to, I think, really commend, and that's producers and producer groups. And as somebody who cares deeply about this stuff, I think far too often when we come into hunting issues, we start with the hunting community. And 93% of North Dakota is private land. 93%. If you don't have a program that farmers and egg producers want to use, you don't have access. And so I want to give, from the soil conservation people to the Game and Fish to everybody, they started with producers and worked back. And it's designed to be a pilot program. And I don't want to terrify you guys. If it works, and I think it will, we'll have to figure out how to do this somewhere outside of the Outdoor Heritage Fund. But I think goal is eventually, 10% of non-productive land to get into this program because ag producers want to utilize this program.
Well, and I would even say piggyback on that. I'm not opposed to them coming to the Outdoor Heritage Fund. This is probably some of the better money that's been spent. Because other times landowners and producers feel like they're being attacked by
Right.
the Outdoor Heritage Fund. And there's some good projects that came about this time. And there's times we've been flush. This budget has been flush. There hasn't been good projects, or there's projects that create a lot of controversy. Doing these type, like what Game and Fish came up with, what they're working through and partnering. This is one of the better ones that I've seen, yeah. If we could use more money out of this, and I know it's.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of stakeholder meetings and they did a good job putting this together. We appreciate all the landowners that supported it. Second one is 27-11, and I want to highlight because of its uniqueness. It's the North Dakota Wetland Access and Restoration Project for $570,000. This project will restore wetlands and provide hunter access. This one is kind of unique because it's the first time that the $5 waterfall habitat and restoration stamp, which generated about $125,000 match for this project, was used for OHF match. Resident and non-resident duck hunter dollars will be used for OHF match. So it's the first time that the duck hunters are kind of getting involved in this one. I think it's a great project. Second one, or the next one I want to highlight is the private forest improvement protection project, $600,000 ask. North Dakota Forest Service and North Dakota Game and Fish Department will partner for forest management plans for private landowners in the Turtle Mountain region. This is the first OHF project that we've done with forest land, I believe. So this is a great opportunity for forest owners to manage their aspen and their oak habitats up in the Turtle Mountains. So we're looking forward to see how they can develop some projects and get some public access for hunting on the Forest Service lands. Another one I want to highlight is the Big Stick Conservation one, 27-9. This is the second one we did with Medora Grazing Association, where we've recommended. It's a follow-up to the distribute water from the converted oil well and grazing on Forest Service lands and state lands managed by the Medora Grazing Association. They had a great success with the first round. And now they came in for the second one, and I think it's a great project, benefits some of the grazing allotments out there and some public lands, and it'll benefit grazing systems and wildlife habitat. The last one I'm going to highlight is 27-4, North Dakota Petroleum Foundation's Planting for the Future program. We recommended at $510,000. The oil industry has been great partners, actively using the Outdoor Heritage Fund to support conservation land stewardship projects. And during their testimony, they noted the additional funding should be made available to meet demands for quality controls. So I think we had a good round. I really appreciate all the work Brenna's done to help us get that far. Without her, I don't know where we would have gotten to. So thank you very much for that. I'll let you go over the rest of them unless you want me to highlight any more.
Unless you guys want any more of them to be highlighted of the projects that haven't been discussed. I did want to mention that even though the total of funds that were spent was a little over 8 million or recommended, there is 15 million for the biennium, and like I said, there was the carryover, so they still do have over half of the remaining OHF dollars will be available once the bucket goes.
You bring projects like this, I don't care, spend it all. We don't need to have another grant round. But I will say in the last two, Dave, that you mentioned, those, okay, it's my opinion, but what they provide and what they do for the state and the public, that tree planting program, because other federal programs have went away or have diminished to the point that we're not getting much value out of it. This helps augment that, and there's a lot more being done out there across the landscape now. With respect to the Medora Grazing Association, people have no idea. They think about, yeah, we're putting some water into some areas that have never had water since the existence of time. But it helps and supports the hikers, the bikers. It also helps the hunters, the sportsmen out there. It helps with wildlife enhancement. It helps with fire control.
Sure.
And that's what people don't know, because if they don't have to go out there with a full tank and try to fight a fire, that's gonna take them an extra 30 minutes to get someplace. Now they can drive right out there.
Sure.
They can take out of these tanks, fire control suppression. This is a big deal. This is good stuff.
Yeah, it was a good project.
Tree planting simple. Like in the grand scheme of government projects, tree planting is simple.
Yeah.
Landowners like it. I can just tell you, I was out for 2 days this weekend. Every deer and every pheasant in western North Dakota was in trees.
Yes.
It's where they were. Because there was crusty snow on the ground, and it does a lot of really good work.
Yeah, tell the committee, good job pulling these types of projects forward. Won't comment on the rest of them, but I know you brought about 3 or 4 that were really, really good.
Thank you.
Put more money on those.
We appreciate the support.
So with that, I will move the projects.
Second. Discussion. Roll call.
Commissioner,
Yes.
Attorney
Yes.
General, Governor,
Yes. Thank you, guys.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
so if I could just mention one thing on the other business for Outdoor Heritage Fund. This will be Brenna's last meeting. Brenna is taking.
The one meeting you weren't at went off the rails. What are we talking about?
Brenna's taking another opportunity, and we're so grateful for all the work that she's done for the Industrial Commission Administrative Office. And wish her all the best for new endeavors. We will be missing you.
And the committee will be missing you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, slap us alongside the head with it. We're supposed to do business the rest.
I thought the last
You'd
meeting
admit
when
it
she wasn't
was
there,
together.
it went fine.
That's not what you told me.
It was fine.
He's good at downplaying everything.
That's okay.
It's actually up. Dutch's camera's on. Do you want to tell him to turn his camera on? Because his camera's the one taking over.
Oh, my God.
And then we will also have Robin Hoffman from the state auditors.
They're trying to put in their rules. So that's right. Yeah. James, more capacity. Staff. Settle down.
Why do they see it as like a thing, like we have to
Perfect.
push back?
We good?
Seriously.
Are you ready for us?
We are, Vance.
Great. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for giving us the opportunity to join in online today. It sounds like there might be a little bit of weather out there later on this afternoon, but first we have Robin Hoffman with the North Dakota State Auditor's Office presenting our fiscal year 2025 audit. Robin.
Good morning. For the record, my name is Robin Hoffman and I'm an audit manager with the State Auditor's Office. And I'll be presenting the fiscal year 25 North Dakota Mill and Elevator Association audit report. And my presentation is going to be brief based on the fact there are no issues noted during the audit. So please turn to page 1 of the report. In the independent audit, In the independent auditor's report is our opinion on the financial statements and related notes to the financial statements for the year ending June 30th, 2025. In our opinion, the financial statements present fairly in all material respects the financial position of the business type activities of the mill and elevator and the changes in financial position and cash flows in accordance with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. This is a clean opinion for the mill and elevator for fiscal year 2025. Following the opinion is a management discussion and analysis, the financial statements, and the notes. I won't go over these since the mill presents these items to the commission on a regular basis. However, if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. If you'll please turn to page 44, we'll skip to there.
For the chase.
We also issued a report on internal control and compliance, and we're pleased to note we found no areas of concern surrounding internal control, compliance, and other matters. And now on page 46 is the governance communication letter. The mill does use accounting estimates for useful lives of capital assets and net pension liability. We evaluated the key factors and assumptions used to develop these estimates and found they were reasonable in relation to the financial statements taken as a whole. We noted no difficulties in performing and completing our audits. There were no corrected or uncorrected misstatements in this audit. And lastly, there were no recommendations. We want to thank Vance, Kathy, and Julie and their team at the mill for all the assistance they provided during the audit. Governor Armstrong and members of the commission, this concludes my presentation of the fiscal year 2025 mill and elevator audit report. Are there any questions?
Looks good. Good job to Advance and the crew.
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you to Robin and her team as well. They're always very, very nice to work with. So we appreciate that as well.
Great working with you, Rob, for sure.
Thanks.
So we'll move on to our first quarter fiscal year 2026 financial results. We did get off to a good start with record first quarter profits of $5,987,000. That's worth versus the $5.123 million profit we had in last year's first quarter. Our increase in profits was mainly due to increased basis gains and also the increased shipment volumes. Shipments were 4,772,000 hundredweights for the quarter. That's up 5% from last year's first quarter of 4,564,000 hundredweights. It's also a new record for the first quarter. About 93% of our shipments were spring wheat products and 7% were durum. Bagged and tote shipments for the quarter were up 14% at 844,000 hundredweights, and that's versus 739,000 hundredweights last year due to strong demand from our distributors and also our retail customers. Family flower shipments increased 26% to 180,000 hundredweights due to continued strong demand there. We shipped 29,000 hundredweights of organic product for the quarter versus 36,000 hundredweights last year. And total wheat purchased in the first quarter was 10,111,000 bushels. That's versus 9,634,000 bushels last year. And that's also a record for the first quarter. On to the business discussion and outlook. Our first quarter sales were $116 million. That's versus $118,548 last year. Although shipments were up, sales dollars were down due to the lower average prices of wheat we are seeing compared to last year. First quarter operating costs were up 9.2% at $13,942,000. That's versus $12,707,000 last year, mainly due to the increased shipment volumes, wages and benefits, repairs and maintenance, and also utilities are up. Operating costs per hundredweight of production were up 4% at $293 per hundredweight versus $282 per hundredweight last year for the same reasons. Gross margins as a percent of gross sales, we saw a nice increase there at 18% for the quarter versus 16% last year. And that is also driven mainly by lower average wheat prices. Going forward, we are optimistic about this fiscal year. Demand remains strong from our current customers, and we are working to add a few new customers. On industry news, Ardent Mills recently announced the closure of a 5,000 hundredweight mill in York, Pennsylvania, and also a 5,800 hundredweight per weight mill in Omaha, Nebraska. They are both older, smaller units with locations that are out of position. On September 30th, our net hedge ratio was at 1.0, with our monthly hedge ratios all at 1 or close to 1, so we're in good shape there. That concludes our report on the first quarter, and be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Anything? Go ahead.
Vance, I was looking through here earlier and maybe we don't always publish this, but what are we yielding on milling? I know we've done really well and actually ahead of industry standards, but where are we at on the yield when milling?
We're making our goals and considering how hard we've been running the mills lately, we're putting a pretty good number out there on overall yield. Do you have that exact number?
Yeah. For the first quarter, we yielded 78.2%, and the yield in both September and October have been higher than that. So you'll see a higher yield here, hopefully in the end of the second quarter.
It's amazing what technology and equipment and skills and good people will do. I remember when it was in the 60s.
It's a lot of hard work from the employees out there to keep everything up. This is our busiest time of year, so we're hoping to be a little bit more caught up on repairs going forward. So hoping to see that number creep up a little bit higher than it already is.
Thanks for the talented
Sure.
crew we got. Thank
Really
you.
do.
Any other questions? Anything trending really well or really badly that we need to be aware of?
Trending. Whole wheat, continues to trend down a little bit. Overall consumption, all across the US has been pretty flat for the last 2 or 3 years. I think we'd like to see that overall consumption trending up versus staying flat. Other than that, the demand for the gluten-free products, that's also staying relatively flat, and that's a trend I guess we'd like to see stay flat or go down a little bit. Other than that, I can't think of anything. Can you, Kathy?
All right.
Okay. We have a couple items for other business. Wanted to mention that we continue to make progress on the wheat mix storage and handling project. We are handling more than 50% of our mids production out there in the new facility. The new pellet mill is in the process of starting up this week, and we should have 100% of our mids going through that new facility sometime after the holidays here in January. So getting very close on that. And we're also working to put together the project for the first phase of the 9th floor addition that we've mentioned before. And that includes the room for the email expansion project. And we're hoping to come over and submit those projects for your approval in the January meeting here. So getting close on that as well. My third other business item to the members of the commission and the IC staff, I want to let you know that I've decided it's the right time for me to retire from my role as president and CEO of the North Dakota Mill. I'm effective in early July, so I'll finish out this fiscal year. Working with all of you has been really one of the most rewarding parts of my career. I'm super proud of what we've been able to build together, from strengthening the operations to supporting our suppliers and customers. I'm committed to making sure this transition goes smoothly, and I'll work closely with the team and the commission to help in any way I can. Again, thank you very much for your support. and your friendship over the years. And your retirement letter should be in the packet that you have in front of you there. So wanted to cover that. That's all we have for other business for today.
– Well,
You're first.
thank you. Thank you, Vance. We so much appreciate your expertise, the value you brought to the state of North Dakota, to the mill and elevator, to all of our lives. We so much appreciate that. I personally appreciate all of our interaction, discussion. There's been a lot over the years, but very much appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for the draft.
You want to edit the date, Drew?
Yeah, I'm gonna edit. Just have a couple suggestions. No, I want to personally thank you for it. It's really been a learning experience for me the last 4 years being on the commission, in particular with regard to the mill. And I want to compliment you and your whole team out there. It is quite a facility. I was up in Grand Forks a month or so ago, and my oldest daughter's in law school up there, and we were just driving around having some coffee and went by the mill, and I just started talking to her about it a little bit. And she said, "Isn't that something?" She goes, "I've driven by this like a million times. I have no sense of what's going on in there." I said, "It's pretty, I mean, people aren't aware of the story, but then even if they are aware of the story, they've not been inside. It's really quite something." And then we get eyes on the performance of what you all do. And I hope we do a good job of conveying to you the appreciation to what you all do. It doesn't happen on its own. So compliments to the two of you, to the broader team there, and what you've done for the state of North Dakota is really, you should feel very good about that. It's quite a legacy, and
Yeah.
we deeply appreciate that. So thanks for nothing with regard to the letter, but just personally, it's been fascinating and really interesting to get eyes on this tremendous asset the state of North Dakota has.
Thank you very much.
Drew and I will redline this and send it back to you.
Sure, we're totally open to that. No, just thanks again to
And Drew
to
knew.
all of you.
But
It's been great working with you. Locked up.
Because part of being really good at it is being good when you're there. Part of being really good at it is building a culture that it works when you're not there. And I just want, I mean, as somebody who's really truly recognized, I always knew the mill was a tremendous asset for the state. You learn a lot more about it in this job than you do if you're in Congress or just a state senator. So you will be deeply missed, and we appreciate everything.
Thanks for saying that, Governor, all three of you. Really appreciate it.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to all of you. Thank
Coming
you.
right up.
Thank you.
All right, and moving from that somber event into legal updates.
And so the first one on our list here is as you're all aware, we had the decision earlier this month out of Bottineau County relating to the force-based non-animation statute. After I run through a few other updates, we'll move into executive session to talk about the impacts and strategy forward for that one. A couple other highlights for other things, just for your awareness. The DAPL operation on the list, this is the one where Standing Rock brought the latest challenge to shut down the pipeline. We intervened in the District of DC. That court denied their challenge. It's on appeal to the DC Circuit. Our opening brief was just filed, so we'll be filing our brief in the coming month, or in February actually. But related to that, it's our understanding that the Corps has finalized its environmental review that it's been doing, and we should be seeing that as early as this Friday. So we'll be awaiting to see what they say. That will most likely moot this litigation and invite new litigation challenging that environmental impact statement. So we're waiting to see what that looks like when it comes out. The next one on the list, this is the challenge to the Unleashing American Energy executive order. This was brought by a group of plaintiffs in Montana, sometimes referred to as the climate kids. I think many of them have aged out of that descriptor. But anyway, they brought suit in Montana to challenge the executive order that wants to unleash energy on a very broad theory that they have a right not to be injured by climate change and any government policies that encourage the use of traditional energy, thereby cause them injury. North Dakota, along with 18 other states, intervened to assist the United States in defending against that. The district court dismissed it, saying it's not going to recognize this cause of action. And we think it's pretty clear, even in the Ninth Circuit, their cause of action can hold water, but that briefing is underway in the Ninth Circuit as well.
Are you writing your response in crayon?
So it's understandable. The next two, the EPA, the MATS rule and the carbon rule, these were the two power plant killer rules. Both of them, the litigation that half the states in the country are brought litigation to stop them. That litigation was paused when the new administration proposed to rescind the rule. We then submitted comments in support of the proposed rescission, and we are expecting the final rules repealing those to come out this month. The shutdown in October might delay that a little bit, but most likely the final rules will come out this month or January. Then I would anticipate there will be new litigation challenging those repeal rules, and I would anticipate we will likely intervene to support the repeal.
To your point, Governor, I don't know, it was about a year ago when the comment was going around that depending on how the election went, our litigation budget would be either the same or cut in half. And you're like, yeah, he said that on the campaign trail, I recall.
And the next one, the WOTUS rule.
That's us who are friends.
As you're all aware, with the WOTUS rule, the EPA and the Corps have proposed revisions that we think will significantly clarify, though there are a few areas where we would encourage them to tighten it more. The comment window there closes in early January. We've been working in partnership with a few other states who are very concerned about it, and we anticipate having a pretty, what we hope will be a helpful comment for EPA as they finalize the rule. The next one, regional haze, just want to briefly give you an update. This is regional haze rule is the one that has to do, it's one of the ones that has to do with visibility, and it's one of the more complicated EPA rules. It's had projections upon projections upon projections. A couple months ago, EPA put out a request for comment for ways to make this rule better. And I want to commend Dave Glotton and his team at DEQ because they came up with sort of a outside the box idea how to change the framework entirely for how we implement this rule. So we helped them in providing some comments to EPA about how we could rework the framework for regional haze entirely. It'll change how EPA is doing things for 50, 60 years, so they may not take the bite, but I just want to commend Dave and his team for coming up with an idea for how we could do this entire program better. So North Dakota submitted comments. I urge EPA to take a look at that. And then the last one for that section is the resource management plan. This is the one, as you may recall, that the prior presidential administration pushed this rule out during its final week in mid-January. They rushed it out so bad they had the wrong person sign it, which was one of our many bases to challenge it. The court shortly thereafter enjoined it, and then last week the president signed the Congressional Review Act disapproval. So first time that the Congressional Review Act has been used to disapprove of a resource management plan amendment. So that's exciting, but that also means our lawsuit is now moot, so we can take one off the books. The last three updates I got here for you, the Minnesota carbon-free rule. We were anticipating they would finish some of their implementing rules by this month. It's looking like they've finished some of their rules, but for some of the main ones that'll affect if we bring the lawsuit and what the lawsuit looks like, they have extended their comment period, so we might not see a final implementing rule until March or April, at which time we will assess whether to bring a lawsuit in. Many other states in the MISO grid have expressed concern as well about what this rule may look like. So if it does go to litigation, I expect we may not be alone challenging it. And then the last two, these are the New York and Vermont Superfund laws. It's just a reminder on those two states passed laws purporting to levy fines against anyone who has caused them climate change damages for the last 20 years. So they're retrospective fines based on the amount of emissions you put out anywhere in the world, which they say cause climate change damages in their state. North Dakota and more than 20 states think this clearly violates several provisions of the Constitution. So we've got lawsuits going on challenging both of those as well, and they're both in the middle of summary judgment briefing. And those are my quick updates on all of those, and I'm happy to jump into the course-based one.
Not yet.
Okay.
So I have a question, comment. Let's say we use a very one-dimensional view of climate change policy and the science behind it. It doesn't encapsulate everything that science and the environment looks at. Based on what New York is doing, New York City would be the biggest polluter and problem child in the whole entire equation between Beijing and New York City. I mean, my God, you want to apply regional haze? Apply it there. You can't look down 5 blocks and see anything, but is anybody even talking about not just challenging and defending this, but I mean, my God, at some point you start holding some people accountable for the bad policies that they inflict on others.
Open new ideas.
Takes a lot of money.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, Drew told me we're saving it for other stuff. So thank you for the therapy.
Governor, I could just give you one update on the appeal of an industrial commission's pore space permits. A group of landowners appealed the commission's order that granted permits for CO2 sequestration fields. That's at the district court right now. The substantive briefing is finished. And in that challenge, there is also an institutional challenge as well as a due process and more substantive challenge on the permits. So the district court judge has that case right now, in addition to what's going on in Putnam County.
Constitutional challenge, the same or similar?
Identical.
Right. All right. What district?
In Burley.
Okay.
Do we know which judge? I mean, which judge are we from?
Jackson Lofgren.
Oh, yeah.
Judge Lofgren.
Yeah. What else cases get assigned? Is it random when these things keep coming through?
I don't actually know.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem to be. But it seems like the same judges kind of get cases that are finding their way up here and doesn't seem
The
random.
technical and factual issues are one thing, the constitutional issue is the other.
That's correct.
All right, Drew, you ready to read?
I am. Governor, I move that under the authority of the North Dakota Century Code, section 6-09-35, 44-04-18.4, 44-04-19.1, 44.2, and 54-63.1 Industrial Commission enter into an executive session for the attorney consultation, clean sustainable energy authority confidentiality request, and Bank North Dakota confidential business.
Second.
Roll call.
Attorney General,
Yes.
Commissioner,
Yes.
Governor.
Yes. The commission is meeting in executive session pursuant to ACC 4404-19.1, 4404-19.2 for attorney consultation related to litigation. All my commission members, their staff, commission staff will participate in executive session. Following the attorney consultation executive session, the commission is meeting in executive session pursuant to NDCC 4404-1804, 5463.106, 4404-19 to consider the confidentiality request made by applicants to the Clean Sustainable Energy Authority grant program. Only commission members, their staff, commission staff, and Bank of North Dakota staff will participate in this executive session. Following the CSEA confidentiality request executive session, the commission is meeting in executive session pursuant to NDCC 60935, 4404-19.2 to consider those items listed on the agenda under Bank of North Dakota confidential business. Only commission members, their staff, commission staff, and Bank of North Dakota staff will participate in the executive session. Any formal action taken by the commission will occur after it reconvenes in open session. I remind commission members and those present in executive session that the discussion must be limited to the announced purposes. The executive session is anticipated to last approximately 1 hour and will begin at 10:55 a.m. The executive session has ended at 11:50 a.m. and the commission is reconvened in open session. During the attorney consultation executive session, litigation related to pore space was discussed. No action was taken. During the CSEA confidentiality request executive session, the commission considered confidentiality requests by applicants in the grant program. What are the committee's wishes?
I move that we grant the request for confidentiality on certain information.
Second. Discussion? Can't really discuss. Roll call.
Commissioner?
Yes.
Attorney General?
Yes.
Governor?
Yes. During the Bank of North Dakota executive session, the confidential agenda items were discussed and no action was taken. We are now in Bank of North Dakota open session. CEO report. Don.
Yeah, I'll direct you to the non-confidential CEO report. We'll start with our fourth quarter company rocks. The Rough Rider Coin business use case continues to be on track. We're in negotiation phase with ICERV, our core provider on that. We look to be on track not only to complete for this quarter, but also to bring a full presentation in the first quarter and on track to hit our summer 2026 go live date of successful Rough Rider Coin transactions with in our states. Second rock, the 2026 Financial Stability Program. This is not in your packet because we had not opened the program yet, but I do have the dashboard. We opened it December 9th. We have 22 applications for about 18 million. And I would say so far, so good. Having very good feedback from our agricultural lenders, good feedback from the operators that this program is balanced and yet provides relief. And so.
How about grain storage?
The grain storage disaster program?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have that in the back. We can flip to that quick.
I mean, the 300 million, these guys out, I mean, our lenders know how to do it. The guys know how to do it. This one is more unique and.
Yeah, if you flip to the back of the CEO update report, the 2025 disaster programs dashboard, we have 64 loans funded for about 24 million, all in on the both the temporary grain storage and the disaster ag facility repair. Again, that one, I think.
I meant the 100, I know those numbers. I meant the $100 million for the, we did 400 million, we did 300 and 100 million.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Other grain storage one.
Yes, we have 2 applications in for the grain inventory storage.
Okay.
Yes, sorry about that.
Because that one's new, so.
That is new. Yeah. That is new. Third rock, our commercial center, which is a significant upgrade to our online banking website for our state agency partners and also our financial institution partners. That has gone live. That's another Fiserv product, and that is going very, very well received. We made lots of accountability changes.
Still leaving rain. I sent you an
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so if that is correct, you kind of have a U around the center of the state, which means that we probably will get some snow in the middle.
Okay.
I like to let it play out a little more.
That was funny. That was interesting.
We didn't know where that was going.
Sounds like we're getting snow.
We are in our EOS process. You can see from the diagram below that we've gone through our complete vision building, and we've actually had our 2-day annual planning just the last couple of days. I will have a full presentation for you on our updated strategic plan and our annual goals for 2026 in January. And finally, the 2026 budget was finalized and on track. If you turn to the second page, I'll give you an indication of where we expect to end the year with some key ratios. And I'll just say overall, a very, very good year for the bank. See below net income of about 220 million a year. This is hot off the press as well. We're going to have probably about 8 million in additional income here in the last month that we were not expecting. So we'll probably be around that 225, 228 range. And you can see that's nice 10 to 15% growth over the prior year. If you incorporate in the interest expense we also pay as really kind of a dividend to the state, that total return, we are now up in that 4.48% range, which continues to climb as the rate environment continues to benefit us. Our spread continues to increase as we continue to reprice assets in this higher rate environment and as they mature or as we take action on them. And this is a $228 million year also covering an unexpected $16 million bond swap loss that we did. And again, that swap loss broke even in October, and now it's accretive to income here moving forward for us. So it was a good move. Capital remains extremely strong. We've seen 15% capital growth year over year. We're up to 1.3 billion from 1.1 billion. And so really strong positioning, strong liquidity, strong capital, strong financial performance for the bank for the 2025 operating year.
Our loans to deposit are down low.
Yes, they are.
And we still,
we're benefiting more from the repricing of the loans in this uprate environment.
oh,
You know, we had a lot of loans at 3.5, 4. Now we're pricing 6, 6.5, and then a lot of new loans coming on.
that's why it's.
Yeah. Loan to deposit is actually trending up on us a bit, just given our deposits are shrinking a little bit with what oil prices are at, and what oil prices are forecasted to be at. But our loan pipeline is slowing down a little bit. In fact, when we look forward, we're looking at a more aggressive approach to attracting loan opportunities in North Dakota in order to continue to build that balance sheet.
I do see that. Yeah, out of all these numbers, I'm looking and saying nothing's different until you hit interest income, so
Yep.
that explains it.
Yep. In terms of credit quality, we spoke through some of the specific movements in our problem loan report in the executive session. Overall, as we indicated there, we saw the wave that peaked really in July and August of 2025 in terms of classified, watch special mention. That is coming down. We are seeing some nice movement down in those trend ratios. Again, the first wave we expected, we do not expect a material second wave, but we do stay prepared for the fact that it could. And finally, I just have the dashboard programs for the both the federal employee program and the storm disaster programs, which both are essentially closed out and done now with a few trailers. And I would say both programs hit the sweet spot. There's about 24 million all in storm disaster loans. And we get about the 1.5 million of the federal employee loans. With that, I don't think I have anything more to present.
Questions for Don? Thanks, Don.
Y'all have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, thank you.
Let's go through A, and B, and then I have a couple things in C that I want to let the other members know. Oh, so do we have motion to approve the minutes? Second.
Sure.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Section 31 is consideration of approval of Commerce Department technical support contract.
Yeah, so commissioners, since the inception of the renewable energy program in 2007, was does the industrial commission for that program, and a couple sessions ago, the language was changed from shall to may, but so it's not a requirement anymore. But at this point, it's working well with some recent changes. So this is the proposed contract for this biennium. And also the current amount is $60,000 for the biennium. That's what it's been since the inception of what it looks like. And visiting with Rich Garman, who is the one who carries out these functions for commerce, he said the 60,000, it's a little low for work and hours they put into it. And so we asked about bumping it up, and it's 2 decades. So with between Karen and Rich and I, we came to a $5,000 number, and felt that was a reasonable increase, reasonable request. So that's the proposed contract for you.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, why did they make the change from the shall to the may?
I'm not sure of this.
Speak to that. So as the Industrial Commission Administrative Office has become better resource, we've been able to take on some of those responsibilities. So we want to have that flexibility to support the program quality from within the administrative office as we can.
Got it. Chris, thanks. Roll call?
Commissioner?
Yes.
Attorney General?
Yes.
Governor?
Yes. Other business. First, there is a motion to reconsider one of the orders that was done by the Industrial Commission through DMR. We have 30 days to do that. DMR, it was filed on the 10th, I think. This meeting was today. They were not ready to engage at this point. So we will probably have to have a special meeting early January. I think we have January 6th. There's a 30-day window. Our next meeting is outside of 30 days. And so I'm actually in the very early process of figuring out how we could structure that, maybe through a legislative change where we have the ability to do it at our next meeting, so we don't have to call a special meeting. But we're not going to punt on it just because I don't know anything about the case. DMR was not ready to, I don't think, brief anybody on it as of yet. But we're not just going to let it expire because the meeting won't happen in time.
Yeah.
Lucky for us that we will have something else to do at that special meeting because of Mr. Vance's retirement, and it's end of the fiscal year seems like a long time from now. July 1st is not that long from now. And so we will get a search committee up and running. Karen's already gone to work on figuring out how we do the nationwide search, but we'll put a search team together of 3 to 5 people. We could approve that at the January 6th meeting. I think the answer is each of us designate somebody. And then I'd be really interested in your ideas of 2 other people, commodity-based, wherever in the place.
Expertise.
I'm looking at you more than I'm looking at Drew. No offense, this is ag-related, so.
I walked on a farm.
The right kind of people to have on a search committee. I am a firm believer in you get these things a lot bigger than 5 people, and
It gets messy.
it gets to the point where they end up corralling just getting a meeting scheduled gets messy. So I think the 3 of us put somebody on. We put 2 other people on the search committee and get that going. Like whatever Karen's ready to present to us on January 6th, if we have the full committee, then we don't have to wait until the end of January to get the process officially started. Because I think as a nationwide search in doing this, and as important as it is, the more time we have to do it, the better. I think we'd all agree we don't want an interim. So it would be nice to fill that position. And with that, I would turn it over to you on it if you have anything to add to that. Apparently we have all the information from the last time we did this, which is like.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks to Carlene, we have all the records from the last 3 searches dating back to 1987. And so we have a really good roadmap to follow, and that will really be beneficial to us as we move this forward as quickly as possible. But if you could get your recommended names to me within the next 2 weeks, then we'll be in good shape for the January 6th meeting.
Clarice is always looking for something to do.
Yeah.
Completely unrelated. It's just a letter of resignation.
That's not very nice.
I agree with you. There's some expertise we can probably invite to the party. Someone that in this is, it's a little difficult, but someone that's familiar with milling, processing, marketing. I mean, there's so many aspects to this that they gotta. I'll make some recommendations. I'll do some checking and some looking so that we have some expertise to tap, at least when we're doing that search there. So, yeah, thank you. Good.
Yeah, I
good
don't-
suggestion.
I don't know who the right 2 people are, but I think having a couple people that aren't who are 3 offices is just having that viewpoint in there is good.
Yeah, Bismuth food. There's so many things that this entails.
Thank you.
The special meeting will be that and whatever's going on with the DMR reconsideration on a a specific order, so I can't imagine it'll last longer than an hour. I do think there's a way in the future we could ask the legislature to say 30 days or the next regular scheduled industrial commission meeting under some circumstances, so we don't have to do this in the future. Because my personal opinion is we don't punt on it just because it happens to fall outside the 30-day.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
There's no.
I'm sure I will talk to both of you then, but to everybody, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I'm mad at you.
Well.
Yeah, there's
In line.
congratulations. All right, this meeting's adjourned.